Welcome everyone to another episode of Dynamics Corner, Speed Dating in Dynamics. I'm your co-host, Kris.
And this is Brad. This episode was recorded on February 6th, 2025. Kris. Speed dating in dynamics. That's an interesting topic. It's one that I would like to hear more about. And in this episode, we had the opportunity to talk with Terri from Terri Talks, as she was recording the podcast Terri Talks while we were recording this, to have a dual podcast and learn a little bit more about speed dating in dynamics. Hi, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. How are you doing?
Hey man, I'm doing great. You know what's really funny is, as we were talking and we first got on here, I was like, okay, good afternoon. I was like, oh wait, you're in the States. It's good morning. So yeah, fun. So I am in Munich timeline at this point in the afternoon. It's 3:00 and I've already had a start of my day already at, starting at 9. So I know you guys are just starting your day.
Yeah,
we just starting my day. I haven't even
had coffee.
No, I've been up since 3 a.m. local time.
Oh, wow.
So my day is maybe just as progressed as yours.
Probably.
Yes.
Yeah, well, we've been doing, right now I'm working on a couple of new tasks. We've got quite a few exciting, conferences coming up, and I'm pretty excited about prepping for these. I have another German ISV coming into the United States for Directions North America. So prepping all that is just some really intriguing, getting down to go-to-market strategy type of stuff, so...
That is interesting because it is I guess now with all of the conferences year round, every season is conference season, because I hear individuals talk about conference season. I think it's a matter of their perspective. But it's interesting that you had mentioned, I know Directions North America is coming up in April outside of any of the local road shows or meetups or that occur. Dynamics Con's in May, Community Summit is in October. You have BC Tech Days, you have Dynamics Minds. We have all of these podcasts that also happen, Directions EMEA, Directions Asia, in Europe. And there's a question I ask a lot of people, and I like to hear the different perspectives because I'm starting to get some insight and I understand differently on some of the things. Is how do you choose which conferences to go to, and what do you do for preparation for those conferences based upon what you're doing? And I have some thoughts and a collection of thoughts, from the conversations I've been having, and it completely changed my perspective on conferences.
There's a lot of preparation prior. So first and foremost, from my side, my perspective as a business developer, I look at working with the ISV exactly on what their message is. What is their commercial message going to conference? And I am prepping to make and ensure we're bringing that voice over from what they're really, not only from what they built so it's the go-to strategy, the sales strategy, the market material, the lineup of who's going to be there, the logistics of everything. Then there's the events that you have to set yourself up. And what do I love the most? Of course, it's networking. So it's all those things you have to put together. And for each conference, and for each ISV, because Terri works with many. So I have about 6 different strategies within one conference. So most of our partners or our ISVs that go in, they have one strategy, which I work with them on, the ones I work with.
I'd like to talk about that too. When we break from your strategy,
to hear.
An ISV strategy going to a conference is amazing.
First is, what product do you have? Okay. So, and what impact is it going to make on a partner? the issues that I see sometimes going into conferences is the partner's like, yeah, I still want to meet up with you, and I definitely want to do the follow-up. Let's take a look at the product. Unfortunately, that's not what happens. I like to go into conference and get my appointment right on the spot so that we're able to really showcase what it is or bring them. You know, a lot of my partners know me. I come up and I go, hey, I have to introduce you to somebody. And they know I'm going to drag them over to a booth, or I'm going to drag them over to one of the ISVs. They know I'm going to do that. And so, and thank gosh that all of them are just absolutely, you know, wonderful. They allow me that grace and, okay, Terri, let me go meet. Yeah, I'd love to collaborate, love to get to know. So strategy wise, what is it? It's what partners are sitting in what verticals with what industry specifics, and how can me, Terri, take this ISV in to drive more revenue for that partner. So that's my strategy. And so when I'm going up to a partner, I have an intent. My intent is I'm going specifically after you, Christopher. He's lived through this. You go. He's experienced this firsthand. So if I know for sure that you're hitting a certain market and you're doing a certain area of the market, that I'm going to bring that ISV straight and forward to you, introduce. The partner and the ISV need to work the relationship out. I'm just there to do the introductions. And so I can make and ensure, you know, I have a lot of friends in the community. They're great, they're supportive, and I just believe in their partner practices. And what I'm hoping to do from my side is help their practice grow.
That's nice.
Okay. No, it's excellent. So you work with the ISVs and you go to the conference and try to match the ISVs up with partners that may have a market for their product, or to work with the ISVs to market their product.
Basically, it has to be the right market. Like, I'm coming into one that if they take on, they don't have this vertical yet, they can adapt to this vertical. So meaning that there could be a long stream of revenue that can start coming into their partner practice by just opening up themselves to generating new opportunities in this one vertical with this one industry. It's amazing. And we've put together the marketing. I can't tell you yet who, because it's going to be announced pretty soon. But that's the exciting
you can tell
part.
us. We won't tell anybody. Please tell us.
I'll bleep it.
It's all good.
Or you can tell us when it's coming out, and we'll both release this afterwards. Which, by the way, I do want to go back to something that's unique that we didn't say.
Okay.
Is we're recording both podcasts simultaneously. So
Yes.
we're recording the podcast for us to distribute using our platform, and we're using your platform to record for your podcast. So we're doing
Exactly.
two podcasts at once. I do thank you for that, because that is something that I've wanted to do for a very long time, to see how it works. And I
Different
like it.
perspective too.
It's a different- it
I'm
is.
looking
I
forward
like
to the
Yeah,
outcome.
it's coming from two different views. I mean, I can see the recording on the Teams, which is pretty. I mean, it's cool from Terri Talks aspect. So I kind of gave you guys a little bit, and thank you very much, Brad. I mean, for giving me this opportunity to test this theory out, because I think it's kind of innovative and kind of neat in that sense. But let's talk about Dynamics Corner. What's going on here, guys? Talk to me. What is this all about? What are you guys up to for 2025?
Well,
so many. Where
So
do you
it's
start?
a lot of things. It's where do you start? Chris and I started doing this podcast. This is our fourth year, or coming up on our fourth year.
Yeah,
believe it or
fourth
not.
year.
And to be honest, it's a blurb in time. It feels like we just started doing this yesterday, and we've progressed a lot over it. But we started it from just a passion from the Business Central community, and we wanted a way to give back, in a sense, by sharing information. We both appreciate and like to share content. We have always shared content via speaking at conferences, blogging, participating in forums, and then the like. And we were talking one day and said, hey, let's have a podcast. And early on, we wanted to do tips type things, but then we started having guests. And then we found that we really enjoyed the human aspect of it. So
Right.
not only do we like to get individuals of the community to have a voice of their own, for people to learn a little bit about them, if it's an ISV, to learn about their product, if it's a partner, to learn about their services, if it's a user, just to learn a little bit about how they're using the application. It's sort of evolved to where we talk about how there's a human side, in essence. We really don't say it, but we talk with individuals about what they have, but also get to know the individuals behind a lot of this, which I think to me is important, because we have such a large community, but it's still such a small community, because it seems everybody knows
each other.
Everybody.
It's true.
So for 2020, and over the time, we have progressed outside of Business Central, but not necessarily what I call Business Central, not outside of Business Central Inspect, because we have the D365 stack, because we talk with individuals that focus on Power Platform, customer engagement, Business Central, or even other areas. So that's what we have lined up for 2025. We already have a rather full calendar for the first quarter. We're scheduling out till the middle of the year, and we have a number of other guests that we're hoping to have on and schedule for later in the year.
And then all the conferences on top of that.
I think this is awesome. It's a great way to outreach. You know, I have been in a couple of different ERP ecosystems, and I tell you something, there is nothing like ours.
There really isn't. There really isn't.
I have experienced, like I said, and I love the embrace that our community actually takes in. You know, there may be a few of those that are not as they're not as passionate about networking or this, but they still take time out to sit down, in a quiet area, have good conversation. So they're very embracing with the community and embracing with, just everybody. It's very diverse. I love the feeling that everybody's there to help one another,
It really has become that. So on the flip side, I do have a few questions back on the conference and the ISVs, because that's something that you do often. But now tell us a little bit about Terri Talks.
So Terri Talks is about presenting not only the ISV itself. What I am trying to start is getting information out, because you're a partner practice that might see an interest in a product that you really didn't pay attention to, and you can reach out to me. You can also, when you see Terri Talks, I'm starting to vet also different ISVs and how well they work within the Business Central, believe it or not. Or a partner will come up and ask me, hey, Terri, I was looking at this ISV product versus this ISV product. What do you think? So Terri Talks is giving me that opportunity. I'm also bringing in my web site, you'll be seeing an educational. I have Guide 365 resources. So I have resources that I'll be coming in for our partners. So Terri Talks is 2025 is going to be expanding on these matters as well. I'll be doing a lot of segments on, how you can get your 800, how your partner practice can get all of your juniors aligned to get all these certificates, get GP partners aligned for their certificates to start bringing on, BC cloud implementations. And so really that's what Terri Talks is all about. Just talking about not only the ISVs, that was my first focus. Now I'm expanding in, as you'll see with AJ, I just posted that this week, and it has to do with Copilot, and, it talks about only Copilot fans, and he talks about all kinds of different things, and it's just really exciting. And, AI and Copilot now are my best friends. It's my trigger every day if I have a question or I want to summarize something a little bit shorter or more professionally or more with excitement or things of the sort. Of course, I got my own language, but wow, did it take off like a shave an hour of writing something. So exciting news. And I'm seeing the agents coming into, now y'all know I work with one ISV, and I'm going to name Data Courage. Now, they are using AI, but not only that, they already have agents for finance, agents for customers, and agents for items. So it's amazing how this has already progressed into the next level of AI and Copilot together. And Fabric is coming into their genre pretty soon as well.
No, Copilot is amazing. It's a great tool that when used appropriately, and you need to have an understanding, in my opinion, of what you're looking for and what you can expect from it. It's not going to solve all your problems. It's not going to answer all your questions. You really need to know how to use the tool. I say in many episodes, because Copilot AI seems to talk, everybody's talking about it in 2025 and even the tail end of 2024. But you have to use the right tool for the right job. And AJ's only Copilot fans, I think, is hysterical.
I love that.
I was talking with him about that before he started, and he was telling me about it, and I just couldn't believe it. And I'm happy to see that he finally put it out.
Pushed through that, man.
And he even came up with a creative name for the AJ AI. It's unique.
When he first said that, I'm like, oh, that's interesting. And then I think a couple months later, it's like, oh, wow, it's live.
Yeah, it's live. He's got 9 segments up already on there. There's a lot of information. It's a lot of information from basic to, he goes into some really deep topics and conversations. And, I'm only so techie. So at one point, it geeks me out. So if it's starting to geek me out, that means it's super intense and it's going into places that I think, the 300 level, 400 level will love. So, I love that part of it. I think the one great thing is that you still, even with Copilot and AI, as much as it's already being embedded, what I really love, you still have to have that human touch.
Exactly.
You can't do it without that human touch, because my mindset or my thought processes or my idea or any type of format that I have for anything, it still has to have that human touch. So you're not taking that away.
Absolutely.
The business relationships will be the most important, aspect of it, or the human relationship as we progress through the world, because in the world of automation, in the world of technology, if we segment ourselves being communal species, we still need that human touch, and the relationships will become more important. As we progress.
As systems talk to each other now, it's now more important to build and continue bridging that, because now you have systems talking. What are the next steps? The next steps is focusing on that relationship more and more in this age.
Yeah, that is so true.
And then the folks over at Data Courage are great. Camille, Tristan, the whole team over there. I love seeing them at conferences.
They're awesome.
And just remind him he needs to bring candy to Directions.
Oh yeah,
I'll make sure. We're prepping for that as well.
And make sure you have a note for them that I want my candy, because it's a funny story
from Poland.
Yes. And I'm hoping to get the Directions EMEA this year in Poland, which would be great. There's a number of wonderful individuals that are in the Business Central community from Poland.
Do you believe this? It's really crazy as we prep. So we're prepping for North America right now as well. Okay. I have 7 on the floor. So I have 7 ISVs on the floor that I'm prepping for. Each one has an individual plan. It has its own targets. It has its own kind of music to the ears. And so as we set and we put those together, I'll make sure that Camille brings Brad the candy from Poland.
Absolutely. And it goes back to, I saw him at Directions. I can talk of it forever. I'm sorry. Yeah. I'll be quiet after this. But I saw him at Directions a few years ago. It was the first time I saw one of his presentations. I was impressive. But he gave out candy to the crowd, or to the attendees of the session. And ever since then, I've been hooked. And every time I see him, I said every time he comes, he has to bring me some candy.
We'll make sure
he brought some the last conference.
Summit. Did he have some at Summit?
Yeah, I ate half of it, Brad, before you got to it.
I ate a lot of it, by the way.
It was good,
which is good. So the conferences. Now, there are a lot of conferences, many conferences. There are partner-focused conferences with the Directions track, Community Summit, Dynamics Con, and some others in Europe are user-focused or combined. I wouldn't say user-focused. I mean, they may be user-focused, but it's a combination of partners and users. With a Directions line, I call it, is focused on partners.
So Dynamics Minds is more focused on actually 5 tracks. So it has your end users, of course, has your FO, BC, CE, and Power. So what's really great about that, it has a combination of quite a few tracks. I'm the sponsor chair for it. I've been working for this since the first year, and it's just getting bigger and bigger. So love that conference. That comes up in May. So first is Directions North America. Now I have IAMCP that I participate here in the actual what is going on here? I'm seeing something happening on my screen. I apologize. See how that can do? You flash up and you're like, what the heck's going on? But the first is I have IAMCP coming up in Munich. That's a big one for the German community. Then I have the Directions North America. From Directions North America, then is Directions Asia. Then from Directions Asia, and that's like May. I think it's the 6th, 4th or something. I think I'm leaving on the 4th of May through to the 7th or 8th. I can't remember exactly the dates. They're all in my calendar now. Then I leave for Dynamics Minds at the end of May, and that's when Dynamics Con is happening, right around the same time area.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a couple of other conferences that are happening at that time. And then after that, I think it's Summit, and then from Summit it's EMEA. So,
wow, your travel times must be
that's a
crazy.
lot of miles for you there. But from your audience of the ISVs and those conferences, there's a lot of conferences to choose from. How should an ISV, or how do you help an ISV determine which conference they should go to? I mean, I think it's a challenge to get to them all. You had just even mentioned Dynamics Con's mid-May, and Directions Asia is also in May. So it's tough sometimes to be in two places at once.
Yeah.
And also with all of that travel across the world, in this case with the conferences, there are budgetary constraints in some cases to make sure that you're spending your money wisely. So what strategy do you have for choosing which conferences to attend and have a presence at?
I think no matter what, you should be at every conference you can possibly get to, but that doesn't mean you have to have a booth and everything going for you there, okay?
Okay.
I just have a different mindset. I let the ISVs know that. You should always be a walking, talking, branding machine when you're at a conference, as anybody should be, right? So strategies for ISVs. When I sit down to talk to an ISV and I talk, okay, what kind of annual budget do you have for conferences? So let's take a look at that. And then once they're able to help me understand what is their annual budget alone, okay, what is the ROI we're taking from these, okay? How many partners do we need to meet versus how many projects do we need to have in order for that to be profitable, if that makes sense. So it really is sitting with each individual ISV to figure that part out. More buck for your bang, or bang for your buck, however that's, I can't remember in English how that, and believe it or not, that is my first language. But it's, because German switches everything, kind of sometimes switches it the other way around. The main thing is being able to sit down and talk to the ISV about what they want to accomplish out of conference. Like going to the North American and opening up this with my new upcoming company. We're just at Directions EMEA. This is their area of expertise. You know, they're another German company that is going to absolutely really open some doors for some partners to make some serious mega.
You have to tell us who it is now.
You can say their names.
You have to tell us.
It's Singhammer. Singhammer is coming out with DICE, which is the IT. It's an IT software modules for if you are a developer or if you're an IT company of any sort, or if you're also in managing services. So no matter which way the software DICE, D-Y-C-E, is coming out, and it's coming out strong. It's already here in Europe. It's already implemented, but it's exciting. And so I'm sitting with them and we're talking about how we're going to go to market, right? Well, where do they go from here once they open themselves to the U.S. market? Well, you can't just stop at Directions North America, guys. You have to remember, you have to do Summit. And you should get into Dynamics Con, okay? But right now, they're a small group. So this is an SI that turned, and they've been working on this ISV product for more than 20 years. So this is their specialized ISV product. So now it's taking DICE to Vegas.
Nice. That's
That
perfect.
is a good talk about a creative tagline. Taking dice to Vegas. I like
Exactly.
that. And I hope at their booth. Are they doing a booth?
They're doing a booth. Now, their booth is going to be something different. We're working on a really special evening event on Sunday as everybody's coming in to, do
Pre-party.
some fun stuff.
Oh, I hope they have some dice at the booth too.
Pre-funk.
I'll have to check it out. I'll have to check it out on Sunday. I think I arrive early Sunday morning for Las Vegas, not early Sunday morning for the rest of the world.
That's afternoon for you.
Yeah, it's afternoon for you. I know. I'm flying in a couple of days earlier. I've got family. My company is actually owned out of Las Vegas. I'm a, Las Vegas company owned. My company's headquarters is there, so family's there. So it's kind of nice to go home and that's not my real home. My real home is Los Angeles, but I based myself out of Las Vegas because the international get to get in, get to get out, and all my fun cousins live there. So,
Well, they're from Vegas, of course.
yeah.
Vegas will be something.
It will be something. Yeah, and I'm trying to keep, quite a few together. I'll be repping CosmoCon's Solutions to Go. So Cosmo Solutions to Go is there. That's discrete manufacturing, process manufacturing. They're also going to be on the floor. So I'm hoping to get this big evening event kind of put together just so we can have some fun.
Well, you have to keep me informed of the events for the evening. And
you know how it is with German. You got to hold that beer a certain way. It's not like this. It's like this. So, yeah.
So you're having a German-themed evening.
Got to. I just got to.
I think you need to do that. So it is. It is the challenge with all of those conferences, and I've always asked that question of which conference should someone choose to go to, and it is a challenge. And I really do think, like you said, there's different perspectives. There's the user or partner perspective, and there's also the ISV in the partner perspective, right? You have.
And I think you have to understand. I think you have to understand something. For an ISV to invest in Directions North America or to invest in Directions EMEA, when they're investing these big dollars for these booths, it's to gain new resellers for their actual ISV product. So when you see these sponsors out there, go up, take a look, get engaged. I'm telling you, partners, get engaged, because the minute you get engaged, you might find a way that you can build more revenue right inside your own partner practice, and you didn't even realize it was out there. That's the amazing thing,
That is the value I see of those exhibitors, and I think everyone should hit the show floor from the partner perspective and also the user perspective when it's a user-focused conference, because you can see the options and the solutions that are out there. Business Central is a great product, and they keep adding more and more functionality to it, but it doesn't. Obviously, that's why there are partners that create extensions. That's why there are RSVs to augment the application with other unique features that may not be within the global product. But just even have an awareness of what's out there so that you can help make your implementation, whether you're from the partner or the user point of view, better without having to build it. That whole build versus buy and the carrying cost of having those modifications, where you may be able to find a solution that does it for you or almost all the way for you, can be a huge savings. And that awareness is extremely important.
Yeah, just from a visibility perspective, it's really, really important just to be seen so that people can be much more aware of your product. Now, Terri, I'm curious, coming from ISVs from Europe, coming into the US, do you find it a little bit more difficult for them to get into the US versus, within the Europe, getting partners?
Yeah, I mean, partners are kind of like, well, this is a European product. How am I going to sell this to, it's really not about the product. I think that the mindset that I want to surely share with partners, look, you continue using the same genre of whatever you have just because the requirements are there and you feel that you have all the products that are right. I'm not going to take away that you have something that's working for you right now. But what is really, I think, most interesting for you partners is you need to understand that, guess what? It's changing. The dials are changing, and the software is changing, and innovation is changing. And if it's like, Have you ever tried different macaroni and cheeses or pizzas? You're out there trying different things to find the best one that you just say, yo, that's my mac and cheese or that's my pizza, right? I think
I love pizza, by the way. Pizza, and I love making pizza, and now I smoke pizza, but I don't eat the same pizza every day. Sometimes I'll make it. I told you I can just talk. You know what I made the other night? I smoked chicken thighs, and then because I smoke my pizza now, I smoked bacon, and I make my own dough. I made my own sauce this time to give it a shot. So I made pizza with smoked chicken thighs and smoked bacon and barbecue sauce. That was the best barbecue pizza I ever had, and it was like eating a sandwich.
That's awesome.
But I usually cook other things like pepperoni and mushroom. To go to your point, pizza is pizza, but you can have different flavors and toppings depending upon your audience. So
exactly, everybody's got a yin and a yang on what they really like, and that's all great. But it's just to get the mindsets open. And I go back to saying we have a lot of partners out there that are still in that old school mentality. And I want to say way back in the NAB days where everything had to be developed, right? Woo! Okay, owners, hold on to your seats. Terry's here to tell you, wake up. It's probably already been developed. It's already there. Let me know. I'll find it for you, and we'll get you that solution for that requirement. It's there.
Terry, you're the matchmaker.
I am. I have been the matchmaker for going on, let's see, 7, 8 years I've been kind of doing this thing. So, yeah.
Kris just gave you a new nickname, so you need to introduce yourself as Terri the Matchmaker. Now I know what you do. You're a matchmaker. You're matching partners and ISVs. See, just make a shirt, Terri the Matchmaker.
That's an important thing to do.
It is a very
space.
important thing.
Yeah.
Introductions are extremely important. And where someone may not know, it speeds up the relationship process.
Yeah.
It's almost like having like speed dating in a sense, because you can find out, okay, I know these people have these requirements. I know these people have this solution. Let's get you together instead of you having to walk this sea of 2,000 people to see if you can find the person that you're with. Let's narrow you down to 10.
Yeah, like with Christopher, I study his partner practice. I know the ISVs he needs, and then I'm already going to grab you, Christopher, because POS needs to be on your genre, man.
Yes.
You've got POS 1 is like another one of my ISVs. It's all, retail. There's LS retail, there's POS 1365. And there's 2 different genres. Yeah. LS retail can go all over the place, and it's for really, you're talking more users than can be. But if you've got 10, 15, POS systems that need to be utilized within businesses, you don't need something that big. You need something small. POS 365, POS 1365 can take care of that in an instant. So those are the matchmaking moments that I will be grabbing his hand, or I'll be bringing the ISV straight up to him and saying,
we'll get the directions.
I'm going to sit from afar with the camera, and I'm going to video that whole thing.
I'm going to know where you're at, because I got to find you too. Hey, Brad, you got to meet this guy. You got to meet this guy. It's all the same.
No, it's good. It's good. We appreciate that.
Mark Daughtry from DSWI and AJ laughed about it one year because they said, Terri, I swear I find it so hilarious. You just come in and say, hey, Mark, I want to introduce you to, and then you turn around and leave. And I go, well, I give you guys the space so you guys can get to know one another, because I already have a great relationship with you, Mark, and I have a great relationship with, Morton. So why wouldn't I let you guys get to know each other? Because that's the whole thing. Everybody doesn't know one another. They've seen each other, but they don't really know each other. So that's the best part of networking.
You really need to do speed dating. ISVs or ISV partners.
That should almost be a session at the conference.
You should do that directions.
Like it's. I think they should have a session. I like the roundtable type sessions or the ask the experts. Like I like all the sessions, and I appreciate anybody that presents, because it does take. You talk about preparation for ISVs, speakers, presenters, ISVs that have sessions. It does take some time, but I also like the ask the expert roundtable quick tip type sessions, because people can get engaged and have it. But I think there needs to be a session on speed dating. I call it. Let's do it. Submit a session called speed dating.
There was a session. There was a session where they had a panel like that, where they had partner panels. I was part of it, which was amazing because it created conversation, and the whole attendants were all ISVs, and they wanted to know from an ISV's perspective of how partners would love to work with ISVs. That was an amazing session. Like, we need more of that, because
We do need more of that.
a lot of the directions conference, you learn about some products and maybe some practices, but an open conversation like that, it was amazing, because then I get to hear how they would love their partners to be, so we can adjust, and then vice versa. It makes it easier to work that way.
Submit, Brad, submit. We can do it together. Submit us all for it.
It's too late for directions, but we'll have to see what we can do. Summit hasn't had the call for speakers yet. I think DynamicsCon is already locked in for their sessions for May, which is
for
good.
Sure. Summit.
Summit, we'll have to see. I have a few sessions that I'm doing all co-presenting sessions, I think, going forward. Looking for co-presenting sessions if I haven't picked them yet, because I like the dynamic of having multiple people. But to Chris's point, having this type of session where you have it, we should just call it speed dating. We'll have to talk about that, because I think it would be good.
Absolutely.
To where individuals going to just get to know each other and ask questions from point of view and perspective, and get a lot of people in there to ask questions. And even in Summit, the users could attend, because now they can say, okay, partner, okay, ISV, this is what my problem is.
Yeah.
I like it. So I think it's good. I appreciate you taking the time to speak with us and have us on your podcast.
Hey,
This is awesome.
I'd like to thank you both for being on Terri Talks. It's been a great pleasure. We can do this as many times as you guys want, but I'm all for the sessions. Let's get something out there, Brad and Christopher. Let's see if we can't get Terri Talks Dynamics Corner ISV partner
Speed dating.
I like that idea. No, we appreciate your time. We appreciate all that you do, and looking forward to attending that event in Vegas on Sunday.
Absolutely.
If you're having it on Sunday, just let me know when you're doing it.
Yeah,
And
I'll be letting you guys know for sure. For sure.
She's
right,
gonna find
very
you,
much.
Brad, and she's gonna drag it.
She's not dragging me anywhere, because I'm going to be in disguise.
That's all good.
No, it's
Let me
good. You
tell
can drag me around. I'm looking forward to seeing you again. I appreciate the conversations that we have.
Such a pleasure. Gentlemen, it's been a great pleasure. I'm going to have to drop off. I got, another ISV to talk to today.
All right, thank you very much.
All
Have a
right.
good
Thanks,
day.
Terri.
Speak to you soon. Ciao, ciao.
Bye.
Thank you, Chris, for your time for another episode of In the Dynamics Corner Chair. And thank you to our guests for participating.
Thank you, Brad, for your time. It is a wonderful episode of Dynamics Corner Chair. I would also like to thank our guests for joining us. Thank you for all of our listeners tuning in as well. You can find Brad at developerlife.com. That is DVLPRLIFE.com. And you can interact with them via Twitter, DVLPRLIFE. You can also find me at matalino.io, MATALINO.io. And my Twitter handle is Matalino16. And you can see those links down below in the show notes. Again, thank you, everyone. Thank you, and take care.